Good night again. Um, just reiterating from the flat earth. When I come on YouTube to tell the world that we live in a flat earth, it's not by joke or debate. And I don't need to go into doing researches to prove that the earth that Most High made is flat. Alright? I'm just gonna share with you the word of the Yah. And this is coming from the third chapter, Second Peter, and the third chapter, verse 5. So that's Second Peter, the third chapter, and verse 5. You can read it for yourself. I'll read a bit more from verse 5 onwards. For those who still believe NASA and all the other set of astronauts all over the world, and them feeding us with lies. So we just come back to the word of God. Right? And verse 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 5 says, For this they willingly forget that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, by which the world then that existed perished, being flooded with water. That's a verse 6. So verse 7 now says, But the heavens and the earth, which are now preserved by the same word, are preserved for fire until the day of judgment and perdition of godly men. Verse 8, But beloved, do not forget this one thing, that with the Lord 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. So, the word of God no slack, people. Remember, the earth was flooded in Noah's time, and over 8 people did save, and the word talk about it. You can go forward to 2 Peter chapter 2, and it will tell you, same way, same verse 5 will tell you about Noah's flood. Verse 4 says, For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved for judgment. Verse 5 of 2 Peter chapter 2 says, And did not spare the ancient world, but saved Noah, one of the 8 people, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood on the world of the ungodly. Right? Verse 6, And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them to destruction, making them an example to those who afterward would live ungodly. Right? And delivered righteous Lot, who was oppressed by the filthy conduct of the wicked. Right? So we come back to the same things, and it says, So then that's how it go stay in the last days where we live in now. Right? Man, I tell you, so we live on a globe where a spiral through space. You can imagine you turn at 1,000 miles per hour per day. Right? Water can't hold on a ball, yet them a show you say water can't hold on a ball. Say man got moon and all them things. But yet still in the first days when Nimrod and the people in that time build the tower, God tear down it. And do separation of language. They call it Tower of Babel. The word of God stand. So me we stick with the book here, and stick with the Most High, and stick with the flat earth. Right? Genesis 1 tell you about how God formed the heaven and the earth and put the dome in the middle of the water and everything, and tell the dry land to appear, and it was so. Right? See. Verse 6 chapter 1 of Genesis says, Then God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Alright. Then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth. And the gathering together of waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. You know, say orange, say the seed in itself. Mango. Pear. You name the different type of fruits. Apples. Different kind of apples. More than one apples. Mangoes. You have all different kind of mangoes. And yet still we can see the word. We don't talk about evolution and all kind of foolishness. I will stick to the word of God. I will stick to the flat earth, the stationary earth where the Most High make. Right? Setting foundation and making the earth that it cannot be moved. The sun and the moon and the stars move underneath the firmament. And all the other 7 so-called planets we not talk about are 7 wandering stars. We operate outside of them, the laws and commands that the Most High make for them. So we are talking about man and moon. Imagine mankind inquisitive. I want to have a one moon landing from 1965, 60, in them time. All kind of equipment have been devised since then. You know, they say technology get advanced. Right? I don't have a second recorded moon landing. Yeah? But anyways, make we stick to the Most High word. And he make the place. And in a Job 38, let me see if I can find Job 38 now. He asks Job, say, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Alright. Job chapter 38. Let's see verse 4. So when I time you can go and read Job chapter 38. But I read in verse 4 and say, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? To what were its foundations fastened? Or who laid its cornerstones? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Or who shut up the sea with doors when it burst forth and issue from the womb? You know, the word of God. Stick to the word of God. No follow what mankind tell you, because mankind a liar. NASA and all them that liar them be. Just like that. Shalom.